everyone, and welcome to another Real Talk episode. As you know, we're here today to have some real talk. Everything that's going to be discussed today is from our personal opinions and our perspectives on life. Today's topic is one that doesn't really get talked about much, but that's exactly why we decided to talk about it. That's mental health. What does that mean to you? What do you know about it? Has anybody in your life been affected by mental health? And maybe you. Does that actually relate to you in your life? Well, we have a special guest here today, Krystal. Thank you for coming and being with us today.
Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Krystal in her own right is also interested in continuing to spread the knowledge of it's okay when it comes to mental health, and just raising awareness of it and how people deal with it to help others be able to deal with that. So with that being said, we're going to jump right into this conversation with Real Talk. So when we mention mental health, what does that actually mean to you, for you? Like somebody, I mean, like, what is mental health to you?
When I think about mental health, right, it's pretty much talking about your energy, talking about your spirit, talking about how are you feeling today, right? Like I've always said that we are so quick to say, and someone asks us how we're doing, we're so quick to say, oh, I'm doing okay, but you know, you're not, you know, you're going through family problems, school problems, life, being a black person in America, like there's so many things that we're going through on a day-to-day basis that we look over because it's like either we try to downplay it because well other people are going through things worse than I am, or you know, my ancestors went through this, so why can't I get through this small little struggle? There's so many reasons why, but for some reason in our community we just overlook it.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. That was very thoughtful. Yeah, that was real. What about you, Ty? When you hear mental health, what comes up for you?
When I hear mental health, I think more so of along the lines as to what she said. I think more so like your vibe, your aura, your mental makeup. I believe a person's greatest strength is their intellect, and how you feed your mental, it affects the rest of your body. So, like she said, I used to be one person that prided myself on being strong constantly. Like, oh, I'm good. I'm the guy that's always good. But it affected my mental and my sleeping. That affected my sleeping patterns, my energy towards, others or the things that I would do on a daily basis. I wasn't mentally good. I wasn't healthy. I could be in the gym lifting a bunch of weights, but if I'm not exercising my mental, giving my mind that same, workout as my physical or my emotional, and then I'm not healthy. Yeah. So that's what I tend to think of.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything that was mentioned. Like, and when I think mental health, I think about stability, right? Because like, in order to have good mental health, you have to feel and be stable in all realms. And I think that feeling unstable in your finances, your personal life, your job life, whatever it is, creates this unbalance where the mental psyche kicks in, and then things start happening. So when it comes to not being balanced, someone it starts to tweak your mental stability because something else is now unbalanced, and then it's like, how do I go through life without my finances in order? How do I go through life? I just lost a loved one, and that whole balance, it definitely plays a role in someone's mental stability. So I mean, we all know a lot of people in our life, but like, do you actually know someone that's very close to you that deals with mental health issues in their life, or maybe even in your own?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess speaking from personal experience, for me, it came up feelings of like anxiety and depression when I was in grad school. Yeah, somewhere around probably like the second year for me. I'm like doing my papers and my emotions were like hitting peaks and roller coasters. I'm like crying. I'm like, what is going on? I didn't understand. And I just thought it was like me being overwhelmed. I was always an overthinker in my life. So I just kept that same storyline going. Forever, like, I'm just an overthinker. It's fine. It's okay. And then when I really sat and thought about it, of course, trying not to diagnose myself. So I'm also a social worker, so I'm like trying not to go for the DSM. Like, oh my God, what am I? Like, I'm not trying to do that. But I noticed the signs. So for a brief period, for like a few months, I did therapy. And towards the end of it, when I stopped, because insurance wasn't covering it, I'm poor. Like, I asked her, I'm like, if you were to diagnose me with anything, like, what would it be? She was like, probably somewhere around mild anxiety. I'm like, this makes so much sense. Yeah. Okay.
It all adds up now.
Now I can put a word to it. So it's not an official diagnosis, but it's definitely something that I recognize, and I know what the symptoms of it is. So when I started seeing myself, like, my mind starts racing, or like, as of recently, I started having more like breathing attacks. Like one day randomly, like my breathing was like super short, and I didn't understand why. I'm just sitting watching TV, and it's like almost like when you look it up online, it comes up as like, what is it? Air hunger, almost. I didn't know what it was, so I speak to my mom, and she's like, "Oh, 'cause my mom's a nurse, right?" All Caribbean parents are.
You got all the answers real fast.
My mom's a nurse too. I get it. So I go to my mom, and she's like, "Oh, it's probably just anxiety." I'm like, "What am I anxious for? I'm literally doing nothing right now." Go to the doctor, and he's asking me all these questions. He's like, "There's nothing wrong with you." I was like, "But obviously there is. I am here."
Yeah.
So looked up more symptoms. Lo and behold, shortness of breath. Cool.
That's a symptom of anxiety.
Correct. So I'm like, cool, new symptoms every day. All right. So once I realized that, that's when I really started getting more and more into self-care and like learning how to be in tune with your body and try not to laugh. All right, learning how to be in tune with your body and knowing when things aren't okay and whatever that means for you.
Right.
Outside of this, when I speak to random family and friends and acquaintances and just regular conversations like this, someone always has a story, but they never connected to mental health. It's always like, did you guys go to therapy before? Like, who else have you told outside of this? Oh, my pastor. I never really talked to anybody about it. It's like, you clearly have something going on. Like, you went through a traumatic experience, whether it was a death. Transitions is a big thing for people. They don't really know how to handle that often. Life in general, expectations, especially if you come from families where you have to be a certain way when you don't meet those expectations, it's like, oh my God, the world is gonna fall. Like, we need to be cognizant of what is going on in our lives and in our bodies and learn how to deal with it, and you figure it out.
Yeah, wow.
I do know people in my family that have mental health issues. There are 2 or 3, and I guess it's more so like, I don't know if they know, and I can't give it a name, but I could tell that there's something there, that there's something wrong, and I don't even know if they know that something is wrong, but I know that, like, I feel like there's a way that a person should be, and they're not that way. So that's how I kind of know that there's something wrong. Personally, for myself, I'm kind of the person that I like to self-diagnose myself, even though that's wrong. Do I say I suffer from mental health issues? I feel like everyone does on some level.
Absolutely.
Everyone does. So I'm going to say yes. I know that there's a way that I know that I want to be and that I should be, but my body is not reflecting that. So that's how I know that there's something wrong. When it comes to like my mood or things like that, I don't even know where I'm going with this, but because it's such a deep thing. But yeah, I mean, I know that I've had my very, very low moments, and I always tell myself, you know, I'm good, or I'm gonna be good, and there's nothing wrong. I'm over exaggerating and stuff like that. And I'm always that person trying to compare my situation to somebody else. Like, this person's going through that, and here I am trying to be all upset. It's not even that serious. I always tell myself it's not that serious. Whereas I'm trying to find that balance of where it's like, it's okay to be not okay, and to like accept the fact that I'm not okay, and to find a way to be okay, or to, you know, just find some, you know, some balance between that. So I would say yes, I do have that mental health thing from time to time, I guess, or actually from like every single day. I think I have one, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a real thing. When I think mental health, like, it connects me back to a time when I was like a kid. Specifically, I was the only boy. I am the only boy, 2 older sisters, and I always felt like I was living in their shadows, in the vision of what perfection looked like. And I never really felt like I was them or like I could be like them. And I would always make mistakes that they wouldn't make. And, you know, I'd always get in trouble, like always. I remember there was this one night and I legit was in my room and I was just fed up. I don't know what happened that day or what was happening, but I was like, yo, I'm about to go in the kitchen. I'm about to get a knife. I'm about to put myself and everybody out of this misery that they have to. Because, you know, at a point you feel like you're a burden for other people. Mm-hmm. Like what you're going through, what you're not getting right is like a burden for others. And who wants to be a burden for other people? And then, again, I was young, so I was thinking like this, you know. And it was just like, you know, they got 2 girls, they don't need me. I was just an extra add-on. You know, like, of course, I was just young and silly, but I was really in that moment. Of course, in that moment, I never would have connected that to mental health and instability and feeling like I wasn't enough and how that connects to, you know, just this conversation today. And like for me, as I grew older, I would have to like kind of psych myself out. Like I am enough. I will be enough if I'm not now. Mm-hmm. You know, like even like Tyrell was mentioning, there'd be days where it's like, and even Anissa, like, I'm good. I will be good. They got it worse than me, so I shouldn't complain. Instead of like tapping into it's okay to not be okay. It's okay, you know, and it's okay to get help, to go to therapy. That's another thing that I feel like most people don't choose to do. But so going into understanding how each of us just mentioned, like we've seen people experience. You kind of touched on it, like in order for you to like get out of the chaos of your thoughts and your feelings, you go do something. You go get active, you know, whether it's working out, putting in work for yourself. Like, what about the rest of you guys? Like, when you've gone through these experiences, and even to encourage somebody else as they're going through these experiences, like, what do you do, or what do you find as an outlet for getting out of your head and the chaos that you're feeling and the emotions that you're feeling while it's happening? What are some things that you've used in your experience?
I think once I've come face to face with whatever I'm feeling, whatever the problem is, I feel like really great to cry. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a great release, and I don't mean like cry like tears, but if you need to scream, then scream. If you need to punch a cushion, then punch a cushion, because it feels good to release all that energy out instead of holding it in. Mm-hmm. I'm a person who likes to hold everything in, and then when it's when you finally have that outburst, it might come out in the wrong way. So it's best to let it out as soon as you're feeling that it's there, so that later on it's not coming out in a negative way. And then you know, I like to pray. You know, I talk to God. I tell him, you know, what's my deal, what's my problem. Try to ask for guidance, patience, for a sign, for something. You know, and you know, for those who don't believe in God, you know, whatever you believe in, you know, you believe in your parents, believe in your brother, believe in your best friend, you know, go in and talk to them. Just talking to somebody is nice to just to let it all out. Even if they have no advice, even if they can't give you a solution to your problem, just to have someone listen and to let it out of your lips is pretty good. Mm-hmm. And you know, I like to play video games. It's a great stress reliever as well.
Whatever works.
That's my thing. That's my thing. That's my thing. Yeah.
For me, after I sulk for a bit, because as you mentioned, like people show their anxiety or depression or whatever else it is in different ways, right? So you mentioned that you get really overzealous. For me, I isolate.
Yeah.
People won't hear from me for a while.
Me too.
And I recognize that, and I really try to like force myself out of that. Okay, I need to not be in bed right now. I need to go out and like be around love somehow. So probably be around friends somewhere, or I write. Not as much as I used to, but at that point in time in my life, I was writing all the time, like finishing books. I never finished books before. I was finishing books all the time. So I started to meditate a lot to try to quiet my thoughts and to refocus and figure out life for a bit. And yeah, just really trying to have a lot of gratitude. Having a lot of gratitude what's going on. Like, I may not know all the answers right now, but I will. And when I get there, I'll get there.
For me, I stimulate, my moments. I coach football, so that's a stimulus. Having to draw plays, like it's weird. I like having responsibility, and I find having responsibility works. Like it gives me, that anxiety I feel. It makes it, it controls it. It gives it like a lane. So having to coach football, drawing up plays, watching film and everything, that gets me going. I love music. I find that, me putting on Drake or Jay-Z, J. Cole, or collaborate, these different artists, it allows me for that moment to step outside of myself and to, decompress whatever I'm dealing with mentally and just walk through somebody else's shoes. And I think it goes back to what Anissa said, feeling like, what I'm dealing with may not be that big, because there's no real measurement to what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
We put weight on it, but walking through somebody else's shoes allows me to look at my situation from a different perspective. So that definitely helps me.
I'm glad you touched on the music aspect, because I know for me, and I don't know, you guys can let me know as well, like, I definitely have used music and art as a outlet to just like feel free as well, because certain music just puts you in that mood, whether it's just like the energy you need, or it's even the
that cry.
The cry, yeah, like the cry music. Drake is great for that. So
I can't.
This is very
get
real.
through those moments. I'm telling you, like, it's really awesome, because like it makes you feel okay to feel that way, and you can connect where it's just like, all right, after a while you listen to it and it's like, all right, I'm over it, I gotta go, like, you know what I mean, let me change the channel to some other type of music. So what about you, Anissa and Krystal, do you guys connect with music and art when it comes to soothing your soul?
Absolutely.
Some
I've
Lauryn
always,
Hill?
of course. I'm a '90s kid, so I grew up on '90s R&B and hip hop, and there's definitely some times when I could I'm gonna bust out a rap for a little Kim song, and that'll be it. More recently though, gotten a lot more into Chance the Rapper, the last probably year or two, and on his coloring book album, Blessings. 1 and 2. I think that's what it is. Anyway, this song with him and some other guy, and one of the lines was, Hakuna Matata by day, but in the nighttime fighting tears back. And that was the realest line ever, because that's really what it is. Like, yeah.
Can you repeat that? I was about to say,
Can you say that again?
He says, Hakuna Matata by day, but in the nighttime fighting tears back. And that, when I heard that line, I'm like, whew. That hit me so hard, because I'm like, yo, this is life, man.
This is me.
But on the flip side of that, like, there's another song where it's like, you know what, I'm gonna be okay. I forgot what song it was. I'm gonna let you know later on.
Right.
But I listened to the album in itself and like, yo, this is what I need right now, because you really need to get through that. And it's understanding that you have those times when you do need to cry, you do need to just mellow out. At other times, I'm a bump J. Cole GOMD. And that's it. I'm turn on blast, and that's it. And now that Black Panther came out and Kendrick, rocked it out with that, all the Killmonger's tracks. Yup.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
You gotta move with your spirit, and whatever your spirit tells you what you're gonna do, and that's what you're gonna vibe with.
So just to switch up the question a little bit for you, because you are a creative, you are an artist by natural life and lifestyle. Do you find that creating art in those moments help you, or do you actually want to disconnect from that when you're going through these experiences?
I actually want to disconnect from art. Art doesn't help me feel better when I'm in those moments. I don't want to create. I don't want to do anything when I'm in those moments because I feel like it's a distraction, and I don't want to be distracted from my emotions, because I feel like that's me putting it aside and pretend that they didn't exist. I want to go through it, and I want to feel it, and I want it to pass, and I want to sit there with my feelings and just go through it so that I can leave it alone now. Whereas if I create anything, I'm gonna be like, oh, I forgot I was sad about an hour ago because I'm working on this. you know, I like to go through my feelings because it reminds me that I'm human, and that I need for it to pass instead of me trying to distract myself from it. The same thing with music. I don't listen to music when I'm upset either. I like music, but it doesn't help me.
So you like to be in your own space?
I like to be in my own space, yes.
Go through the motions.
Yeah.
And work it through.
If anything, I'll play a violent video game. To be honest, because when I'm in my feelings, I'm angry, and I need to express that anger in a way that's not gonna hurt myself or anyone else. So if I put on a violent video game, at least I can use my imagination and shoot whoever I need to shoot. You know, I'm not a violent person, but you know, everyone has their form of anger, so I need to let that out.
Always experience those, you know, when you get in like, you know, that experienced state where you just feel like, grr, you know, you try to go away from what you feel. You know, you want to acknowledge it. But how is it that, you know, these last few years, we've been seeing cases where, you know, there's been mass shootings and there's been, you know, these wild scenarios of people doing things in society, you know, do you guys think it's a sense of like, hey, listen, like, you know, something, like just using let's say the situation in Florida. I don't know all the details, but from what I read, the 19-year-old kid was recently expelled from school or something, you know, the girl broke up with him. So, you know, he took his time to go home to get a weapon, then to come back and to cause, you know, conflict or violence. Do you find that, you know, these people deal with, you know, that's a mental health thing, or is it a case of insanity? You know, like, where's the separation? If we've all acknowledged, you know, we experience those moments, you know, where we get that rage. However, you know, we haven't gone that far. What do you think is the difference in the feeling?
So, like, for me, when I think about a scenario like, you know, these people who go and shoot up places and everything, it is definitely a level of mental health in that scenario, and instability, right? So I think what makes them different than the average individual dealing with mental health is the simple fact that those people never found an outlet. Yeah. They never found a way to release what had been created and pent up inside of them. And after each scenario and situation, which happens to all of us, but again, we find an outlet to release that energy, these people are stuck with it. And instead of, you know, releasing it, talking to someone, or whatever that may look like for them, they go and react. So like even what Anissa was literally just saying, like, she's not violent, but when she's upset, she's angry, right? So like, take her, for instance, if she didn't use the outlet of video games, being with herself, whatever works for her, who knows? She could definitely go out on the street and bust somebody up. Yep. Whether it's one person, two people, three people. And I think that's what happens with these people. Like, they're just really lost and they don't know how to release that anger, and they take it out on masses of people.
It's also an entitlement thing. I feel like we shouldn't not mention that.
I mean, hey, this is real talk. This is real talk.
It's an entitlement. Because when you think about it, like, again, like, anybody could have a mental health diagnosis. Everyone walking in the street has some type of DSM-5 diagnosis. However, they're not all shooting up places. Right? So it's a mixture of things. Whether it is that they don't have the coping skills for it, or they feel, how could you say no to me? Like, it happens all the time. And that's me speaking as someone who's a person of color, even speaking as a woman, a woman in itself. If I'm walking down the street right now and I decide not to listen to somebody who's catcalling me, catcalling season is coming up, right? So if I decide not to respond to somebody who's catcalling me on the street and they become violent, like, it's an entitlement thing. It's, how dare you say no to me? How dare you do this to me? I'm going to show you why you shouldn't do this to me.
Yeah, that's intense. That's great. I think both of those perspectives, like between the entitlement and the lack of release, you know, creates insanity. So in dealing with yourself, and Krystal, you mentioned it a little bit earlier, the idea of self-care, the importance of self-care. like I myself rarely practice self-care. And very often people remind me like you have to take care of yourself first, because how do you expect to make it through the day and the days and the weeks if you're not putting yourself first, if you're not sleeping, if you're not eating? Do we believe that self-care has a huge role in mental health and stability?
Absolutely. And I just want to like make it clear. So oftentimes people talk about self-care, it's the taking bubble baths and drinking wine and doing all that great stuff. Although
getting a massage.
All right, the classy stuff, right? All that definitely makes a difference. But your self-care is also knowing when to cut off toxic people in your life, knowing when to set those boundaries, knowing to say no. Like this last week for me was definitely a reminder of why I keep saying no more often in things, because Friday to Saturday I'm like overwhelmed, new things are coming up, great things, but a lot of things were happening. So by the time Sunday came, I shut down, like body legit crashed, shut down. I'm like, I need to be saying no more often and being okay in that no, because I know it's okay for me.
Wow,
That's hard.
that was very heavy, because like I wasn't even thinking that lane when I even mentioned self-care, like, because for me it's more of taking care of myself, because I don't do that enough. But like even as you mentioned it, saying no because you are already overbooked, you're overstressed, you know what I mean? That also has to play with your mental, because if you're going, saying yes, you're gonna go insane. You're gonna lose it. You're gonna be going crazy. What does self-care look like for you?
I don't know what it looks like yet, because I'm still trying to find my form of self-care. Right now, to be honest, I'm taking care of everyone else and not myself.
How it goes.
And it's tough. It's tough. It's stressful. But I am working on trying to find my form of self-care. Whenever I can find a second to myself, then I guess self-care would look like sleeping, because I don't sleep much. Playing video game, because I haven't played a video game in a while. Just trying to do things that I enjoy, creating art for myself versus creating art because someone paid me to create art, because there's a difference between work and fun. So I'm still trying to find what self-care looks like for me, I guess.
Okay, that's fair. What about you, Ty? Do you have a self-care routine?
So I feel that, so I do things like, I've been doing boxing for a couple weeks, just to try something new. Anissa and I haven't done it in a minute, but we used to go to the movies, like, once in a blue, just to see a random movie. We're planning on going seeing Infinity War and Kevin Hart the end of this year. So just making sure I make time for myself, When it gets warm, I definitely plan on going for hour walks, leaving my phone, in the house, just walking and just being in the moment of life, just. And I feel like that's my time to just recharge. So that's what self-care look like to me.
So, I mean, very often we like to talk about the highs and not the lows. Like, we don't want to share, like, what's not working for us.
And something else I feel like we do as well as individuals, we become perfect at masking the lows. And that, I feel, is a form of insanity. I can speak, but I go through things on a daily, and I just, you just, we've become so perfect in how we mask the lows that we subconsciously don't realize how much energy it takes to mask that. If we just acknowledge in the moment, yo, listen, Ma, I need you to take care of yourself, or yo, Preem, you stressing me out. I feel like it will do wonders in how we, keep ourselves well mentally.
Interesting point that you also brought up, because I was having this conversation with somebody the other day, like how much energy we spend on choosing to be disconnected. Like subconsciously it makes sense, but like when you literally have to sit there and tell yourself, like, I'm not going to talk to you because I'm mad at you right now and I don't want to express how I feel. Sometimes it actually takes more energy than to have that conversation with them. Because again, it's not about it being fixed after. It's about yourself and not having that on your heart and your chest anymore, where you now have an elevated spirit to say, well, that's off my chest. Whether they received it, whether the answer was given, at least now you have the energy now to bring something else in. When we consider our parents playing a role in our mental stability or insanity for that matter, there are so many other factors like the media. Very often, even the media, one either doesn't talk about it, or they portray it in such a negative light that it's like, again, we don't want to be associated with the word mental health. You know, Logic, he dropped this amazing track where he used the suicide hotline as like the title of the song, and it like changed the game where like, I don't know what about him making that song made people be like, oh wow, this is the thing. All of a sudden it was just like, you know, we were having a lot of things happen from the Me Too movement, a lot of these kids killing other people, these mass shootings, and it just seemed like the world was just in this space where it's just like, it's not okay to talk about mental health issues. And when it's used, it's to say like, this mass killer, he was insane, so he killed all these people. How do you guys, what is your perspective about the way that the media and social media and, you know, our colleagues and the world portrays mental health, and do you feel like they're doing justice to it?
Social media really just downplays mental health, especially when it comes to men, which is sad. But just in general, you know, everyone looks at mental health as a joke. If this person is crying or if this one is moving a little slower than someone else, you know, it's a joke, which is pretty unfortunate.
As you tapped on the crying aspect and men, because like me as a man, like I know like growing up again the stigmas, you know, gotta be okay, can't cry. Like I grew up in a house of women, and I felt at a certain point, which it probably was true, I was like over emotional, right? What that meant, I don't know, but like I started realizing like, oh my God, I'm not a man because I'm always crying. I'm always crying, and like why am I always crying? I used to get so upset, like, yo bro, control yourself. Like this is not okay. Now, granted, I'm happy I learned how to control my emotions through that experience, but then I got to a point where it really wasn't okay for me to cry and then to express myself, because I would be looked down upon as showing female characteristics. And I'm not just speaking for myself. These are real things.
This is a fact.
And even the idea of hugging, right? Huge. It's a huge other stigma when it comes to the male species, where it's like you cannot really fully embrace someone without showing too much emotion or being too emotional, because hugs equal love. And
how dare you?
How dare you? You know what I mean? Like, yo, that's too much. Like, why are you hugging me so much? Why are you hugging me so long? You know, unless it's like your woman, anyone else, and hugging dudes is like a total cliche thing to do. You know, interesting enough, most of us here went through this amazing program called Momentum. Shout out to Momentum Education. There was this one occasion where we had to go around and hug people, like more or less. And the first person that I had to go and hug was a dude. This is just to show you how crazy life is. So I, in my head, was like, I want to hug him. I'm a hugger. I have no problem hugging dudes, women, whatever. But as I stood in front of him, there was now a mask created like, he doesn't want to hug me. He's another man, and he's not going to want to hug me, so I'm not going to hug him. I'm going to give him the lesser choice and give him a handshake. I made that choice for us based on our masculinity. Only to find out when it was time to choose, he chose to hug me. And I felt ridiculous inside. I was like, how dare I, one, not be true to myself, all because of this stigma. And just to think about me, I can control that, but there's so many other men out there who are living this life in such an unstable way because they haven't been able to hug, love, and express themselves.
Yo, there's nothing greater than a hug. And just to, you know, before Krystal go, yo, I used to feel the same way, bro. Like if you show, you know, emotions, you're emotional, weak, I'm a sensitive guy.
Yeah.
I'm sensitive, and I feel there's nothing wrong with being sensitive because I'm aware of what I feel. Like any interaction, I want it to be genuine. If I'm hurt, you hurt my feelings. Like you broke my heart. Like you just being real. So I definitely commend you, bro, because you spoke for, I'm sure, millions of men, because you spoke for me.
As we even talk on the social media aspect, Chris, I want to give you the opportunity to tell us a little bit about what you're doing through social media to actually raise awareness on mental health and change the conversation. Can you tell us a little bit about your project and what you're doing and why you're doing it and your hopeful end goal with it all?
Sure. So currently I just started up an Instagram as well as a Facebook now, entitled Melanated Masks. And I did this because, again, just in passing a regular everyday conversation and speaking to all these people of color who are going through things in their life, and it's like, oh, BT dub, this happened. And it's like, you've been going through this for so long, but why don't we speak about it? So the point of the Instagram and the Facebook is to talk about these stories of people of color and have them tell it in their own words. Pretty much talking about, like, when did they start seeing changes in themselves? How was it speaking to friends and family about it? Did you not? And if not, why not? And then where are you now? Like, are we going to therapy? Did you work your way through it? And what did that look like for you? My thought, right, and my vision is that by speaking about this, more people will be more open to having these conversations. Because sometimes you just need that one voice. And if not, I'm certain that a lot of the stories that I will be sharing, whether it's written or in video, someone else is feeling that exact same way. Yeah. And even now, so we're in March now, I started at New Year's Day. This is when I started. I had people in comments saying, like, yo, I connect with this. Thank you for this. So my vision's going to get definitely bigger and better. But for right now, it's starting really simple and like, oh, let's just talk. Let's just have a conversation.
Wow, that's beautiful. I really want to commend you on taking that initiative in our community to showcase, other people's plight and then the journey to where they are now, and that it's okay. That idea that it's okay. Y'all heard it first. This was some real talk. Yeah. Another amazing episode. We want to say thank you again, Krystal, for joining us to talk about something that, one, you're passionate about, and something that you're actually actively engaged in, trying to make a difference. We here at Overcoming the Odds believe that this platform is to make things relatable for our community, and also to prove that, it's okay to struggle and it's also okay to succeed. So, that being said, signing out. Until next time, real talk.